I'd like to introduce to you one of the co-founders of the Heritage Front, Grant, and to give you a few announcements.
Thank you. I was hoping that the only bad news we were going to have tonight would be the information that Dennis and I received last night about Tom Metzger's wife. In fact, that's not the case, but I'm going to give you a little bit of history about what is the case. An associate of mine and a friend and associate of a number of people in this room, John Ross Taylor, a number of us know this chap. His name is Terry Long. Well, in 1990, Terry Long had a meeting. Try to follow the logic here because I don't understand it, maybe you will. Held a meeting on private property, and as a result of that, the Human Rights Commission of Alberta decided to persecute him, not prosecute him, persecute him, to the point where he had to leave his home and is on the run for having a public meeting on private property. Today, Terry had to leave his children and his wife. They're in Alberta, and he's on the run because of a Human Rights Commission. In December of 1991, another friend and associate and comrade of mine in British Columbia had a visit from the Human Rights Commission of that province. And they told him that he could not operate a telephone line that people have to call into to get his message. That somehow he was offending certain people. As a result of that, he is being persecuted, not prosecuted, persecuted. Several years ago, when Jerry, Wolf, myself, some other people sat down and started working on starting and developing an idea and a concept known as the Heritage Front, we knew that one day certain enemies of freedom would come knocking at our door. They did. On the 4th of February, 1992, the Ontario Human Rights Commission took a written complaint from an individual representing a group, and they have decided to launch an investigation into the Heritage Front. I quote, there's one really rich passage here. The Heritage Front discriminates against Aboriginals and non-white persons on the basis of race, color, national or ethnic origin by communicating telephonic messages which expose them to ridicule, hatred, and contempt in contravention of Section 13(1) of the Human Rights Act. That we carried a recorded message which advocated that non-white people should be refused entry into Canada. My associate in Alberta had to go on the run because he didn't have 150 or 200 or 300 or 350 people to stop this lunacy. My associate and friend out in British Columbia, who by the way was nice enough to carry a message from the Heritage Front, we're also named in his paperwork. Ours was only 1 page. His was 29 pages of complaints. He doesn't have an infrastructure or people to support him. We don't know what's going to happen to him. But it's going to be an awfully cold day in hell when we're going to disconnect our telephone message because we offended some little darling because we told him we don't particularly think you should be allowed to come into this country. Unfortunately, this lunacy is like a disease because people were not there in the hundreds for our associate, comrade, John Ross Taylor. They picked another target. And then they picked another one, and they picked another one. The lunacy is going to end. We have every intention of fighting the Ontario Human Rights Commission in court. It's been suggested demonstrating on the street in front of their offices. We have some pamphlets here. We want everyone to take one. We'd also like you to make a note that we have their mailing address here and a suggested script, and we want you all to write to them. We'd like them to get several thousand letters showing that there are people in society today that are not going to put up with this type of persecution, this type of unfounded persecution. Well, we'll go to the inquiry, but when we go to the inquiry, we want to go with 150 people. You're not going to walk over us because we're not going to lie down. Somebody said before I came up, they said, "Are you talking tonight?" I said, "I am." They said, "Oh no, I forgot my wallet at home." Because to go to the inquiry and to go to the commission and to fight them, we're going to have to put on a defense. We're going to have to put on a defense that's going to cost money. Now, we expect to be pouring a lot of our resources and a lot of money into this fight. But we're also asking you tonight to help us with the fight. The way you can help us is you can provide funds to fight these people because we're going to stop them in Ontario. We're not going to let them go to Quebec, the Atlantic provinces, or back to Manitoba. We're going to set some case law and we're going to quit persecuting people. Because in this country, we're supposed to have free speech. But we wonder, when does a group make an impact? When you're named on Clan Busters. Some mental deficient decided to go around Spadina Avenue putting up, who are you going to call Clan Busters? Trouble with racist phone messages? Wonder who they could be talking about. White supremacists causing paper pollution in your neighborhood? Hatred and bigotry poisoning your children? Intellectual impoverishment a concern? Obviously not to these people. So if you want, for a little comic relief, we're going to supply these Clan Buster posters at the back. White power! White power! White power! White power! White power! White power!